Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. So, picking up where I left off in the part one video, Dewey breaks the news to Sydney over breakfast that Billy was released due to the fact that the Ghostface calls that Sydney received prior to attack the previous night were not from Billy's cellular phone. So, seconds later, the scene shifts to Woodsboro High School where we see Dewey dropping off Sydney and Tatum. Immediately after Sydney exits the vehicle, Linda Blair's reporter approaches her in the scene that we saw in part one video of this theory. So let's start by talking about the reporter's dialogue right after this message.
It's sometime in the future. The ultimate challenge. Crossfire. Crossfire. You become Crossfire.
The reporter's approach and dialogue are another spoke in my theory wheel. She immediately asks in an aggressive tone, how does it feel to be almost brutally murdered? She then yells that people have a right to know, and she practically screams, wink, wink, her final line as she again says, how does it feel? While Dewey literally physically restrains her from getting closer to Sid. Yeah, sure, this could be nothing more than an exaggerated depiction of an overzealous member of the media. I mean, I've seen clips of similar situations in real life, although it's almost always involves media trying to bait a celebrity into lashing out. It's not an extremely insensitive remark to a female high school student hours after surviving an attempt on her life via a huge fucking knife. And here's why I think it's relevant. So yeah, again, this scene's only seconds after Dewey reveals that Billy was released, and it's hard to chalk that up to coincidence when everything else is taken into account. I'll get back to that in a minute or two. I don't have much longer left. We'll do that in my closing arguments, so to speak. But the question is, how does it feel to almost be brutally murdered? That's not a question that you ask, especially a reporter, and expect a response. So like her bizarre aggression and the timing of her cameo in this scene actually makes sense the most when you view it through the lens of what I'm proposing, at least to me. Because again, Nancy's motive in Scream 2, the lady we know is Nancy, Laurie Metcalf's character, to pick up a knife and rock a Fun World mask is revenge for her son. So if she loved him enough to murder innocent people in the sequel, it's not at all crazy to think that she would lash out at a girlfriend who was at least partially responsible for his arrest as a murder suspect.
Crossfire. 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 You'll get caught up in it.
All right, so pulling all this shit together. Very quickly touch on the evidence. One, we have the similarities in appearance. Won't spend too long on that. Two, we have the fact that Nancy almost certainly had to be an actual reporter to avoid suspicion in Scream 2 from Randy and Sid, even though it's halfway across the country. And that's something I hadn't really touched on yet. So Windsor College is a fictional college somewhere in Ohio. But we can talk about the fact that Gail calls her a local woman and like she has no idea who she is. So that could kind of just be like a tongue-in-cheek joke. But it wouldn't be weird even though she was a local reporter in California where Woodsboro like facially exists. If a local reporter were to show up for a crime that was, for lack of a better words, like original to Woodsboro, California. So yeah, that wouldn't be weird. It only makes sense she's a reporter to avoid detection, like from Sid and Randy, like as cavalier as she is, just like walk around in broad daylight. They wouldn't suspect anything unless she wasn't actually a reporter. So like three, we also have Sydney's knowledge of Nancy's transformation. And again, that just feeds the point that like doesn't really make any sense for her to know that unless Miss Loomis never left Woodsboro. Therefore, over the course of 2.5, 3 years, she would be able to see that, especially coupled with the fact that Gail Weathers, a reporter, has no idea of that transformation. Makes the most sense that Nancy never left and they saw it, whether they liked it or not. Or maybe even the townsfolk, I just really wanted a reason to say townsfolk, gossiped about it, even if Sid didn't see her that often. Then finally, you have the timing of Linda Blair's cameo in Scream and her like over-the-top aggression. So put all that together real quick. And so Nancy Loomis is almost certainly a reporter with red hair in the same fashion sense as Linda Blair's character. She also never left Woodsboro, in my opinion. And she got pissed off if you fuck with their son. We know that from Scream 2. So that's why I think this clip is the same character.
School, you'll be safe here.
So how does it feel to be almost brutally butchered? People want to know. They have a right to know. How does it feel?
Just one.
So yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, certainly I'll get a little less redundant and a little less choppy. I'm really enjoying doing this. So just bear with me. If not, appreciate that you made it this far. But see you in the next video. Appreciate it.